My, oh, I never heard you there. Yes, I'm
I
sure you
said
said hello.
hello.
Oh, there
I
you are.
said I said hello. I'm calling.
Aye, that was
Can you
weird.
hear
I
me
saw
now?
you. Yeah, I can hear you now. I saw your lips move, and then didn't see or didn't hear any noise coming in the back. It. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I've got to try no yawn tonight after the feedback on Friday.
Feedback
Maybe
wasn't for me either.
no. It's maybe it was only one person. It maybe annoys somebody. I can understand.
Aye.
Come on, like the noise eating and that. So maybe somebody doesn't like to see somebody yawn. But apologies, and I'll try no yawn. It's just sometimes hard when I'm in conversation with you to not
That's what happens, eh? There's folks sitting around. Obviously, because we're talking
yawn.
about it, more folk will be on. I think when you do it, it's mere the fact there's no attempt to cover it up or fuck all. It's just like fucking both. You just go for it.
I
I'm
tell you
like,
what,
oh,
right? And I could yawn tonight because it's quarter past 8, but it's really quarter past 7, I suppose. But I was up early this morning, early start, so could well burst into a yawn
aye,
at some point. I'll cover my mouth though if I do.
nice one. You definitely will now that we've talked about it.
Aye.
Before we start, right, our Tesco yesterday, the one at the top of my street, got shut because some kids set fire to the cereal aisle. And this isn't a joke, but this actual factual happened. And it made me think, right, if you were to set fire to an aisle in your Tesco's, what one would you pick?
Um, I'd be thinking, I wonder if it was cereal. I think it would be cereal. But you want
Nah,
flammable, wouldn't you? You want like the one with the tops and that
that were
and
you for
stuff
the
like
spectacular. See, I was
that.
thinking
Well,
the freezer aisle just for the challenge.
aye.
Anyway, answers in the comments, please, folk, if you're tuned in. Steve, Chris Black has said, evening, boys, and Steve has said, evening, lads. Superb performance. Bring on the sevies. Uh, right, it was a really comfortable win yesterday, like a as comfortable a win we've seen at Easter Road for a long, long time. And because of that, it wasn't really the most eventful games. It was like a good performance. So we've probably not got loads to talk about in terms of like the actual game itself. So I think what we'll do is we'll talk about the goals, but I really want to focus in on uh, like the sort of the characteristics of the team. The fact that this was a game that uh, was like a must win. You know, we built it up as well when we did the preview. We talked about how important that those 3 points were. How if we were to get third, we had to make sure we beat St Johnstone and Dundee. We knew St Johnstone being a wee bit of a bogey team, and how we didn't care how the team would react under pressure. And actually, we had fuck all to worry about because they were superb. I suppose let's start off then with the goals. First goal was an absolute peach for Hoyle at Colin. What did you make of that?
Each. It was we were kind of swarming over them, weren't we? It was like the ball was up there for ages, and it eventually came out to him. But it was one of them when he has like so much time. You know, like with the cross, was it this cross for Gale at the start of the sort of turnaround against Ross County, where you're thinking, why isn't he tackling him?
Mhm.
It was like that, and then like he just kept sort of coming in. I thought, I'll just have a wee pop, just bent into the far post, cracking finish. I actually didn't think he'd had a great start before that. It was taking too long on the ball, and he didn't look great. I
Aye,
know it was only 10 minutes in or something, or 10, 12 minutes, whatever it was. The first goal went in. But I was actually thinking, oh, I'm not sure I should have maybe started them. I didn't think it was actually 18 minutes. I thought it was earlier than that. Didn't think it had a great start to the game, but I mean, what a strike, eh? Like that's what he brings. Like I know Josh Campbell scored a spectacular goal before. That's the difference in those type of players, though. I'm not demeaning Campbell. He's just different.
hmm
You wouldn't expect to see Campbell doing that, but you know how it can. And it's like maybe that was we never picked him in our teams in the preview,
no,
and I think that in that kind of game, we spoke about it in the preview. We score early goals, kill it, and that's what we've done. We got 2-0 up after an hour, 20 odd minutes. And Johnston just went, Hibs fucked. That's your game plan done out the window. We'll just not get hammered now. But players like Hoylett, maybe a goal threat than Campbell. I know Campbell scored a few, but in that type of game, a tight
aye.
game, then he could pick something out like that, like something spectacular. That was a peach.
What I liked about it was how busy everybody was getting the ball back. So we
Mm.
actually had like an attack come down the right hand side first, and the ball ended up back over that side. But St Johnson had possession of the ball again in their own box, and we won it back from there. You know, just as they're about to clear, I think the boy I think it was maybe Boyle that went in for the challenge, maybe. And the boy ends up passing it straight back to us, and the ball goes out to Hoylett, and then he goes in.
I was really pressing them.
But,
and it was the same with the second goal. And I was amazed that, like, St Johnstone being bottom of the league, and they were doing that, knocking it about at the back thing, like they were world beaters. Mm-hmm. And you think, what are you doing? Like, and especially it was like Gray knew they would do it, so he just had Boyle and that all pressing them, and they had no answer to it. And the game was done, half an hour in, completely finished.
I thought we got the tactics spot on, and you're right. St Johnstone kind of just played straight into our hands. We were like, let them have the ball, they'll make the mistake, we'll just press them, and then we did. Both goals kind of came for that. Again, Hoylett was involved in that second one as well. Really clever tackle. He just sort of slid in from behind the guy, just nicked the ball off him, and then Boyle did. I think the keeper could have done a wee bit better with Boyle's finish.
I think he definitely could have. It was almost like he drew his arms in as he sort of dived like normal, and then as he landed, he pulled his arms back towards himself rather than extending them out. It's like he did the opposite of what he should have done. So when I first saw it, I thought, that looked weird. Good. Oh, I went, good finish. That looked a bit weird. And then I watched the replay and I was like, what the fuck is he doing? I thought it was a really bad attempt for the keeper. I'd be complaining like if that was your goalie.
I think I would give Boyle the credit. I think it does look
bad
nice
to the
keeper. I think Boyle uses the defender to just blindside the keeper a wee bit. And then,
but he pulled his arms back towards him though. Like, what's the reason for that? Because he'd been blindsided. And by the way, if he had stretched out, I don't know if he would have still reached it anyway, but he would give himself a better chance at it.
I just think he's sort of dived and hoping that the ball was going to be in that general direction. I'm not convinced he's had a really good idea of where the ball was.
Right.
Do you know, like he's seen the shot coming and just tried to get something on it. But I think it's clever play for Boyle because he just delays the shot, and then when he's got the defender in front of him, he just puts it. No, it's not. But
it's not in the side netting or anything. I don't know. I know folk that think that's where you should be aiming all your shots, but it's it's almost in the middle of it's not quite down the middle. It's definitely to the left of centre or right of the centre of the goalie, but I think the goalie should be doing a lot better. But you know what? I'm taking it like 2-0 after half an hour. And that's, again, back to the previous show, what we said was a couple of early goals, kill them off. Their game plans up the pole, and they're fucked. And that's what happened.
And the second half was one-way traffic. I think I've been as comfortable in a game for ages. My son said it was like the last time I felt so comfortable was like maybe the last 10-15 minutes of the derby because he never thought Hearts were going to score. But I was like, there was no point in that game where I thought St Johnstone were going to get a goal. They were shite, but I think they were shite because Hibs just turned it on. And we won it wasn't a stellar performance in that every player was like a 9 or a 10 out of 10. Yeah. We just played like as a team, we played really well. Tactically, we were brilliant.
Solid, yeah.
And we were really busy. I think that was the probably the best adjective that I can think of for the team is how busy we were. And players like Levitt, I've criticised Levitt in the past for letting games pass him by, like no wanting to be the main man and get on the ball and make things happen. Levitt was fucking superb. So we talk about him in the 10 or what's that, like a 6 role that he was playing or an 8. I think kind of difference. Like whatever that quarterback role is, Levitt was brilliant for it. He went deep to pick up the ball off the centre halves. He had his head up. He was looking for passes. He was finding like good passes, getting into good areas. But what I really liked about him was when the centre halves had the ball, if the pass wasn't on, he didn't just stand and let the pass not be on. He made a move to give the centre halves an angle. And he was like that all game. He was getting into tackles, all this kind of thing that you didn't often see for Levitt. But I think if you see that Levitt, he would be an asset in virtually any team in the league. He was really good. Chanis was good. We'll talk about a bit about Rocky later on as well. In fact, it's hard to know that I was going to say it's hard to find a negative, and I didn't really want to try and find a negative because we're 15 games unbeaten, and like why would you try and hunt down a negative after a run like that? We weren't perfect. Miko missed a sitter. Did you see the Diggy?
Aye.
Is there any excuse for missing one like that?
There's bound to be an excuse for it. I don't know what it is. Maybe I saw it late. I don't know. I don't know. He just it's not a great attempt, is it? I mean, it's not even on target. It's not, it's just a complete mishap. So
Aye.
yeah, he's mistimed it, but he's lacking confidence. He's not getting a run of games. Maybe it's all down to that. But no.
I thought he had a tough game, Miko. I think he obviously played his part because I think the bit you didn't notice so much with a striker in a game like yesterday is how involved they are with the press. Like the press was vital for us winning that game.
But he went
Miko
straight
played
for
his
kickoff and,
aye,
and blocked the goal. Was it the goalie? I think he blocked it almost right first minute.
aye. So it's easy to see the bit that he gets wrong, but what you kind of you don't necessarily pick up is the work that he puts in, and you need your
Mm.
centre forward in a game like that to be setting the tone. And I think he did do that, and he played his part in the win. Obviously, Bowie came on in the second half and got the penalty to sort of secure the win.
No.
Good penalty. I think we had a bit of chat on the WhatsApp earlier on about it. Sends the keeper the wrong way. That's what you need to do, really, innit?
Yeah. Well, Rashford done the same today. It's all about if you can get the goal to dive the wrong way, then you just put whatever you want. But it was a good penalty. I've got to say about. I don't think anybody was really expecting Miko to start though. We never done the team. I
No,
start like we normally do, and I don't think we had a few teams sent into us as part of your prediction. Friday night preview, sorry, and neither of us picked them. And I don't think anybody in there. I don't think anybody was expecting it because if you're not picking Bowie and Boyle up front, you're probably chucking Galen.
aye,
So I didn't think anybody would. But obviously, he must have thought horses for courses stuff and put him in. Maybe need the big guy up front against St Johnstone, but and he did. He started to press, set the tone, I suppose. The press, so
aye. The team
just
raised
not look confident.
a few eyebrows when it came out. That was probably the main one with Miko, but um, Joe Neal's still not available. Manny came onto was on the bench. He came on later. We'll speak a wee bit about him. You could have had Levitt or Mariah Welsh playing alongside Chiantis. There was also the question mark about whether Miller and Boyle would play, or Rocky even, having been away on international duty, and the three of them started, and I think Miller
Chiantis as
played the
well.
full game as well. Sorry, who did you say?
And Chiantis as well was
Oh yeah,
away. I know he
yeah.
never
Chance
played.
was away. He never played. Yeah, he came on, but I thought. Although maybe there were some question marks about the lineup, I think when you actually saw how they set up and how we played, Gray got it spot on, as he tends to do. Like this is what we're seeing for David Gray now. He seems to be really sort of acutely aware of what players are going to work for what games now, and that's quite a big thing for a new manager, isn't it?
Yeah. Aye. He's been there long enough, I suppose, to learn or to learn not what to do under the. I don't know how many managers he served under, like 3, 4.
Actually,
He must have learned plenty, had plenty of what to do and what not to do. If all of that.
aye. Um, and yeah, I just thought it was like a really strong squad performance. So we'll talk about the mentality of the team and things like that in a minute. I'm just going to catch up on some of these YouTube comments. Stevie said it was in Newcastle yesterday for the trophy celebrations. It was absolutely brilliant. Saw a wee bit of that on social media. It was like everybody in Newcastle was out in the streets to see the cup coming back. Well done to them. John McGlynn said he'd set fire to the bog roll aisle, and Callum says the vegan section. And Chris said he'd set fire to the healthy eating aisle as I'm a fat pie. Stevie said a 20 quid on Hibs -2 yesterday at 11-2. Was half expecting Bowie to miss the penalty, but well done on your win there. Chris said, having not made the game due to a family bereavement, I sat and watched legally. Our press was really, really good. We just allowed them to have it and then pounced when we fancied it. Stevie said, would cap the season off if Hearts failed to make the top 6 for the split. Interesting with Hearts. They seem to be less worried about what their team's doing and more worried about how many fans are in our stand.
That's what they do, though. It's because they
Aye.
sell a few tickets for a semi-final that's where it all starts coming again. Now.
What,
It's,
what
it's
an,
distraction, isn't it? It's just look over there stuff.
what an enjoyable life that must be.
A pity though that Ross County never won the day because that would have
Aye.
brought them right into the mix. But
See, Dundee United, I think, had 3 penalties. This is what the FOP Mob app said: 3 penalties given and overturned by VAR in the first
did
half.
they?
Aye,
Did they?
I think if that's what actually
No,
happened,
I watched a bit of it. It was VAR who checked them and never gave them.
Aye, but
Like, the referee never gave them.
oh, right. So the way it looked on the app was
The
that
VAR
the
checks.
VAR
Well,
had,
the ones I saw,
VAR had overturned it.
I was
That
doing
would
it
be
my
fucking
mum's.
hilarious. Can you imagine Goodwin being ready to fucking
Uh,
spontaneously combust about
I
it?
know. I was doing it my mum's and it was on for about 10, 15 minutes and my dad moaned about the commentator, so
Fair
it got
enough.
turned over. Dundee United TV, it was on.
Aye,
Pretty poor.
I would turn that off. Stevie says, strange hearing Rocky say no offer of a new contract yet. What are Hibs waiting for? He's been superb since November. Got a feeling he's going to walk. Right, so we have talked about Rocky a few times. Andy Allen, listening to the show, sits behind me in the West Stand, and as we were awarded the penalty, and the whole crowd really singing, "Oh, Rocky Bushiri," kind of hoping that he was going to take the penalty. This was I think it had two storming runs going forward by that point, one of them leading to the penalty. And Andy says, "Kind of what a turnaround it's been for Rocky," and it has been. You can go back to uh, his first loan spell, pretty disastrous. Everybody, I mean, generally being quite happy that when we announced that he wasn't signing again, then we signed him. You know, depending on whose version of events you believe, it was by accident. But I never ever thought that we signed him by accident. I think the version I heard was that we knew what we were doing, but technically his loan had finished, etc. And anyway, we'll not go into that. But he wasn't a popular player until sort of fairly recently, when folks started kind of coming out to him when
The
the club.
derby, when Hearts fans started slagging him and everybody went, we're not letting them fucking slag
Well,
him.
there was the club played a bit of blinder. If you go back a wee bit further, when Ben Kensel came out and he had the thing about
Oh, aye.
Rocky saying, "Why does everybody hate me?" and folk did sort of rally around him, and that was maybe the start of folk
Yeah.
warming him. But certainly since well that derby, Rocky's performances have been terrific. He has got better kind of game to game, week to week.
Yeah.
And there is this chat about should he get another contract. What do you think? Like, what's your gut feeling on it? Are we keeping him or are we not?
See, that's the thing, right? So the comment there, and I can't remember who it was you said, sorry, but they said, what are we waiting on? It might be the player isn't wanting to sign the deal. We might have offered him something.
Well, the club are saying we haven't, or Rocky
Are
said we
they?
haven't. The club have said that the talks are ongoing, and
Aye.
Rocky said there's not been a deal offered.
But how
It's just paper talk.
is that part of the game?
Aye.
You know, because it's all about trying to get more money and all that, isn't it? That's how they play that's how they play it. His agent might have said, didn't he say nothing or tell them they've no I don't know. But it would be a stupid lie, I suppose. I forgot he had said that. That was just on Friday, wasn't it?
Mm.
I don't know. I mean, he's doing well, but I often think players do well when their contracts are put to end. I
Aye.
just wonder if we were to hand him a 3-year deal, like, do we get the Rocky we're getting in the last 3 months, or do we get the Rocky we get for the last 3 years?
It's a fair question. I didn't see why he would go backwards though, like that, because for him it must be better. Do you know if you're a
Mm.
player and you're putting in those performances, and it must be fucking brilliant when three stands are all getting it. Oh, Rocky
Yeah,
Bushiri, you're just back for international duty. You're on a 15 game unbeaten run. You're top of the world. You're featuring every week.
and you're a
Like,
major part of that tournament. The
aye,
goals against the goal against Aberdeen.
like you're going to feel there. You would think like a big connection with the
Yeah,
club. I mean, really, if the club were wanting to sign him, that you would almost be hoping that they got him in at that moment. Say, fucking, as soon as he's in as soon as he's in the door, give him a contract.
yeah,
Like, get him back in off the pitch, get your shower in that Rocky. Then we need to see you in the office. And here's a deal for you, Ken. The fans love you. Fucking, you'd be stupid to leave. You would think that they would be trying to tie
yeah.
him up ASAP. Do you think Rocky's got his sights higher? That's probably the question that I've got.
Aye, probably. Aye, it'll be keep his options open. Aye, no doubt. I think sometimes you could have given me a deal earlier, and I'll look after me.
Which I suppose
And
every
and,
player's
and
prerogative, isn't it?
he might sign. If we offer, he might sign it. But if we offer it, he might not, because he's as you've just said, he's probably going, well, can I get better? I don't know, like, because he's an international player, and I know I'm not sure what level country DR Congo is it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what sort of level that is if they're qualified for World Cups or I know they're not, but if they're going to or anything like that. So I don't know if that would be enough to add an extra zero or whatever onto his wage packet if he was to go and sign elsewhere. I don't know if 4 months playing really well at Hibs is going to be enough to go and get him and move to the Championship in England or anything like that. I don't know. But I'm sure his agent will be trying his best to get him the best deal.
Which is fair enough. But he was tremendous and has been really good for a good period of time now.
A long period of time now.
It's just that, and I think the longer he puts those performances on, they become the norm. And you start to slowly shake. I know the BBC, I think Leanne Crichton said he's always got a mistake in him.
I read that, but these folk didn't watch us.
This is the thing, eh?
They just repeat what they've heard somebody say. You know, like it's just that they do that all the time.
Aye,
it's just off centre stuff. It's they always lose late goals. It's all the same old shite that they say, whether it's still the fact or not.
Kieran said he had Hoylett in his team on Friday, thought first half he was dynamite. John said was enjoying imagining the sound of loads of webbed feet walking out the stands, like a wet, slappy sound. I think what that relates to what we were talking about, where folk would have webbed feet. Is that the Hearts fans?
Aye. Hey, well, I don't know. I assume so.
I assume so.
You explain it. Send down an explanation.
Explain
your joke.
This is the problem when you get the comments on a bit of a delay. Chris said yesterday was a game where we should have played Rudy for a spell. So the subs that came on, we had Dwight Gale came on, Bowie came on, Campbell and Manny. Was there another one?
No.
I'm trying to remember off the top of my head.
We still had one sub available.
So we could have chucked Rudy on. I think who you would have taken off for him.
He's already taken all the forward players off.
I know. Well, I suppose this goes back to our conversation that we were having on extra time about the academy and how to give players minutes. If you were playing devil's advocate, then I would probably agree with that. Then why could we have played Rudy instead of Dwight Gale, for example? Different positions, but we could have, with the players that we had, we could have shuffled a wee bit. We were so comfortable in the game that it wouldn't have really made much difference.
Yeah.
Or even give them
and it's when you're comfortable. When you're as comfortable as that, well, I'm just looking at it. I know it's the women's football, and not everybody pays attention to it and all that, but they were running 3-0 today. They won 3-0 today, and they brought on a 15-year-old to the academy. 7-8 minutes at the end of the game. But still, it's a debut 15-year-old. You know what I mean? It's but they've done it. And that's twice they've done that this season with two different players, that 15 and nearly 16. But you know what I mean? It's like we've got a 19-year-old, 20-year-old now kicking about there, just like sitting watching the football like us. But if you know, and I've heard a few folk discuss it, I've read the message boards, all that. That was one of the worst teams we've seen at Easter Road. Comfortably winning 2-0. And we couldn't even, and we've still got a spare sub to make, and we couldn't give him 10 minutes.
Aye, it's an interesting one. I would kind of be good to know the logic for it. Although it's easy for us to say, like we're not responsible for these decisions. Like if they do it and it goes wrong, we don't know how fit Rudy is and all the rest. That kind of was like on the bench, but he's maybe no match ready. Maybe they just literally kind of make up the numbers, that sort of thing.
With 9 subs on the bench, so he's just name if he's not fit.
Aye, but you could include him in the squad. I mean, that's also experience as well, isn't it? Like to be in and around it, although it's not the same as playing a game, there is still some benefit for doing that, I think. Anyway, again, this is like kind of find a negative and an overwhelmingly.
It's not a negative, but this isn't a negative. This is a question about what are we actually trying to do here? What is the club's strategy and aims and goals like? Other than, in addition to finishing in the top 4.
Aye.
And semi-finals and all that, what are we actually trying to achieve with the academy? Because we're spending money on it. Got loads of players going through it. Surely the academy's not there to produce players for the lower leagues in Scotland. But anyway, different question.
Aye.
Bear in mind.
John confirmed it was for the away end. The Web Feet fans were the St Johnstone fans. Stevie said, what's folks' thoughts on Ibrox next weekend? We'll come on to that before we wrap up. And Kieran said that St Johnstone played exactly how Montgomery did, keep making the same mistakes, trying to pass out for the back. Crazy football when you've not got the players for it. That comparison came up a few times yesterday at the stadium.
On Hibs.net, somebody said on Hibs.net as well.
I saw it on Hibs.net as well. Yeah, it's funny. I'm going to give Josh the credit for this as well because he said it, and it's not me. He said we looked more likely to score when St Johnstone had the ball than when we did.
We actually had less ball than them. They had more possession.
Did
I've seen
they?
it on the BBC stats, on the BBC, on the highlights. Let me check on the BBC app here. Match stats. It did have 45 to 54. Well, 55 is the roundings, but 45.3, 54.7.
That's mad.
St Johnstone's favour. But that's what we had all last season.
Aye.
I'm sure their podcast sitting there going, but we had all the ball in that, we just never done anything with it. How many shots did they have on target? Because it didn't feel.
I don't think Smith had a save to make.
No shots on target.
Can't
One
remember
shot.
having a save. And we
One
had games
shot.
like that last season.
Yeah.
I definitely, and I can at least a couple of listeners, I think we're just at it here when we talk about Montgomery, but that's what it felt like. It was like sort of a team that's wanting to build up for the back without necessarily being equipped for it. And
It's
then
a style and a philosophy with no substance.
Aye. And but getting caught out and then shooting themselves in the foot because they were the architects of their own downfall. Almost Hibs just played them like a fiddle. I mean, we were so comfortable as a result of what St Johnstone were doing and what we were doing with their style of play. A really good observation, Kieran. Green Tea said good result yesterday. Pity about Aberdeen and United winning. I think that was a shame. Like when I was 5 minutes late getting into the ground for reasons I'll not go into. So I missed kickoff, and
it's not like you. You're normally there before the players.
Listen, I was off the train at Waverley at 2 o'clock. By the time, let's just say, no, everybody got to their destination through no fault of their own. No, everybody got to the meeting point on time. Again, through no fault of theirs, I'm no fucking blaming anybody for it, other than the transport system. Aye, it's nobody's fault. But anyway, we missed the first 5 minutes. But when we got in the ground, Motherwell were winning, and you're like, oh fucking hell, brilliant! If Motherwell can hold out, this is going to be like a great afternoon. And what I was really hoping for was us to be in the position where we were 4 ahead of Aberdeen, so that next weekend it doesn't really matter. We're still got our noses in front for third place, whereas Aberdeen could overtake us. If you assume that we'll take nothing, but I'm not saying it's a given that we're not going to take anything for Ibrox.
No. They're away to Ross County, and that's the disappointment as well, because with Ross County losing today, Dundee United are almost guaranteed top 6 now, so the top 5 are almost guaranteed, or we are, I think.
Us and Aberdeen are.
And Dundee United are ball here, Midge's ball here away from it as well, so you're like, there's one place left, but Ross County's kind of ruled themselves out of that, and they dragged Dundee United doing it, was they dragged Ross County in, there was 4 teams going for the last two spaces. And that Ross County play Aberdeen next week, so then there would be even more on it. I suppose you could argue they can still make it, but they'll have to beat Aberdeen next week. That's all or nothing for them. There's no even a draw, any good to them. So there's still an opportunity there for them to lose next week.
Aye, it was almost a perfect weekend. If those results had gone our way, you would have been coming out of there. Like I was buzzing coming out of the ground anyway, but it would have been really buzzing coming out of it. Chris said only negative for me during this run, we haven't battered a team by 4 or 5. And Peter Ford says, what do we do with Levitt? As he only has a year left in his contract, sell, extend, or just let his contract run down? What do you think? If you're David Gray, what are you doing with Levitt?
I'd let him. He's still got a year left. I'd let him carry on now. And if he keeps playing and keeps improving, then we've got a decision to make. But at the moment, we've got Newell to come back. We've got Manny coming in, who we must think's better. We've got more potential. Bernis is probably going to go at the end of the season, isn't he? So, I guess we need to find the right balance in there and find sort of a replacement, the sort of Trianta stature or style next season.
I think it's like you have it's the carrot, isn't it, for him to say like go and carry on. If you
that's what I'm meaning. It's like what we've done with Rocky.
If you play like you played on Saturday, there's a contract there for you. You need to be doing that every week. Green Tea said if Levitt gets regular games, you can see the benefit of playing him. He always looks for a forward move. And that's true as well. He definitely has one of these players that when he gets the ball, he is looking to take the ball forward. It's not a safe pass backwards all the time. Dan said we'd like Rocky to stay. He'll probably leave though. Callum says Rocky's words were there have been exchanges between him and the club. So Louis said there's no like a firm offer. There has been some talk, which is in line with what the club said as well. Stevie said the thing with Rocky is what level can he actually play other than at Hibs? He's not good enough, obviously, for the EPL. And if I'm honest, he'd struggle to get a game in the Championship. I think he would. I think he's got all the attributes to be like a player in lower half of the Premiership, but the
You feel
Championship definitely. I think he could go there because he's developing still.
you say that, and obviously he's got the physique and all that. But Pochis is struggling down there, eh? And we would have probably rated Pochis as better than Rocky. In fact, we did.
So I think Porteous is technically a better player, but I think Rocky's physically. And actually, I would say Rocky's performances since November have been as good as anything Porteous did for Hibs. I
But
think there's a huge difference in them.
I thought, I always thought he was a bit overrated. Which I thought he was a good player, but I thought we probably because he was the Hibs player coming through the academy, the last one probably to do so. It was there was a bit of more support for him. He got away with a lot more for the fans when he was making mistakes and stuff than Rocky did. Like Rocky's getting that. He's still got that tag about he's got a mistake in him, makes too many mistakes. Somebody always made an excuse for Pochis. It was always somebody else's fault, a referee or the media conspiracy, or it was never a foul, or he was covering for another defender. Nobody was there to take the pass. And it was always somebody else. But I think he got a good press from us at that point, and I'm not saying he's not any good, but he's went down there and he's not like he's had to leave Watford. He's at Preston now, is he?
Where did he go?
Is it Preston?
Is it Preston? I can't mind. No, I never really tracked his progress, to be fair.
Because they were playing a day, but I only watched a bit when my dad turned off the Sunday night game because of the commentary. I'm just going to check if he was playing today because they got beat off Villa today.
So they did. I think Rocky's got all the attributes. Was it Lee Johnson said he needed, was it 10,000 hours of coaching into him?
Aye.
He's
a slaver,
I can, but maybe what we're seeing now with Rocky at the end is 3 or 4 years, however long he's been at Hibs. Maybe this is what all that coaching does. Maybe he did have all the raw attributes, and now we're seeing it starting to come together, and he's a bit more refined.
Is it Preston, by the way? But he wasn't even in the squad today. I don't know if he's injured.
I wonder.
He was with Scotland last week, though.
Maybe cup tied.
Yeah, maybe.
John McGlenn said, "I'd loved Rocky since he pumped the ball into the sea." Or both, maybe. Totally unnecessary, but class all the same. That was a top
cult. He's a cult player, total cult player, isn't he?
Aye. Chris said the last few weeks is the first time I've seen Levitt hungry to perform. He just looks happier, sharper, and wanting to fight for the boys. And now his ability is starting to show. I wonder, we've talked about this before, right? About the would you describe it as a culture at the team? So yesterday was epitomised. I said the team was busy, and we've made this comparison before. That if you look at some of the performances earlier in the season and last season, you had players coming off the pitch with their shorts clean. They hadn't been putting tackles in. They didn't look like they'd run their race. Whereas now you're seeing players coming off even after 70 minutes and they look fucked. Everybody's working, and I wonder if for somebody like Levitt having that, because you can't hide. If you're the only player that's not doing that, you have to lift up to that standard, or you get left behind.
Well, you'll be told because you've got the players and that characters in that dressing room that'll be saying, like that stuff that we talk about, the leadership stuff.
Exactly that.
That element of it.
Aye, and I think this has been good for Levitt, and I think what we're seeing is him rising to it. I think he can be a cracking player. I've always said that I found him frustrating in that he was too prepared to let games pass him by. When he doesn't let them pass him by, and when he grabs it by the scruff of the neck like he did yesterday, I think he's terrific. And I'm right along with Joe on the phone. And you would have him in the team quite happily. I think he'd be an asset for a lot of teams.
He does look. I've said it before. Like he does. His passes look aesthetically pleasing. Like he's got a nice style about his passes. Like I know it's not about how it looks; it's about where it goes and what it creates. But it does look good when he's playing well. It does look catches the eye.
Mm-hmm. Although I did think he went and volleyed one that was nearly out for a throw in that Cadden kept in the second half yesterday. Although somebody mentioned that might have been Iredale, so maybe my eyesight isn't great, but I was sure it was Levitt that tried a volley on the edge of the box and just hit it horizontally. Just didn't quite go where it was meant to go, but never mind. Um, Callum said, watching from Maine, massive 3 points. Boyle is different class, 94 goals. Give him whatever he wants to stay. Green Tea said, what defender hasn't got a mistake in him? Also, sometimes think when a player has signed a new contract, they maybe relax a bit and concentration goes.
Yeah.
Do you think Rocky's mistakes get highlighted because he's such like a big imposing guy and you notice him more?
Yeah, and he's got that. There's that sort of perception around him. So it's almost like you are then looking for it. Now, it obviously started somehow in the first place, though. Like that perception was created. Like it wasn't. And we spoke about it. Like I mean, even like at the turn of the year, I was still rhyming off mistakes he had made and the win and run. Like the at Christmas at the Derby, OG under no pressure. Then you had the penalty away at St Johnstone. You know what I mean? And but it's ended there.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of mistakes in him. Like he was making not just in him, he was making mistakes most
Yeah.
weeks.
He very nearly sliced one into his net yesterday as well. Although he never did it, and I'm sure he would say he knew exactly what he was doing with. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But it was one of those ones when it left his boot, everyone went,
I know.
fuck. Um, Callum said, for me, Sir David Gray is getting minutes in the legs of players that are going to have a big say between now and the end of the season. As promising as Molotnikov is, he's not going to feature. And that's I think a good point.
How promising is he?
Ah, I don't know, but so what I suppose what we're saying, what Callum's saying is he doesn't think Molotnikov is going to feature in our top six games. So there's not a lot of value in getting him minutes now. Although, who played that needed the extra 15 minutes that's going to feature? Do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't anybody coming off the bench because we never used all our subs. I still
Yeah.
think we could have played him. I get the point that you're making, Callum. I agree to an extent. I think 15 minutes wouldn't have made that much of a difference. Although we won 3-0, so we got it right. That's what you have to say. The coach got it right.
I know. It's
It
just
doesn't
that
matter, eh? Like
it's a different question for me. You
aye,
know what I mean? Like we can't argue at the moment about the results of the performances.
aye. Stevie says Colin spot on. Don't know what it was he said there. Hopefully it was about the
Probably
yawning.
could be in.
Could be. Kieran says thought Abita done brilliant as well yesterday. Put some brilliant balls in. Him and Miller are a dream for Gray. Both can play wing back or in the back three. Abita was much more like the Abita of last season yesterday. In fact, there was a couple of really good moments where he was like sort of physical with the winger. I think the winger tried to go around at one point in the second half, and he just sort of just kind of shove kind of the boy ends up off the pitch and everything. It's one of these ones that it's not a foul or anything. It's just a player being stronger, but it was definitely
Experience
like
and strong.
aye, exerting dominance over him. Stevie said
Different type of
Porto's
player Cadden. You know what I mean? Like
aye,
Cadden's creative and albeit obviously got some crosses in him. We spoke about it before, mainly when we do the teams, but he's a more defensive minded player.
aye. Stevie said Porto's way better than Rocky, and he's been out his depth in that league. It is Preston. Chris confirmed that he was cup tied.
Mm.
Kieran says Porteous was just as likely to get sent off or give a penalty away as he was to play well. We're a better team without Porteous's rash defending and embarrassing antics. Would take Rocky over him.
It's split, eh? It's like a proper.
I
It's
can,
two messages, total opposites.
but that's the beauty of football is like there's no right or wrong, or if you're right, you're never right or wrong for long.
Yeah.
Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like 'cause the new evidence will come or something will happen and it'll make you change your mind. I love it. That's why it's good fun doing these because fucking it doesn't matter what we say. It's just opinions.
Yeah.
You can agree, you can disagree, take it or leave it. It doesn't matter. It's just nonsense. Not important. At the end of the day, right? I'm going to go to Blue Sky, get a couple of talking points for there. Jeff Ashton, who sent a cracking photo of Easter Road sitting under a rainbow, said Hibs
That
had a
was good.
game plan. I was cracking photo. Hibs had a game plan, having watched St Johnstone's last 4 games and it worked a treat. Saints didn't have a plan B, and we won't have a more comfortable game in the league this season. Bowie looked to be trying too hard when he came on, but confident he'll be very good for us. Patience.
I was
Um,
glad they let him take the penalty because I thought they let him take it. I don't know who's this. Boyle was off the pitch at the point, but we've got a striker that needs a goal, needs to build his confidence. Let him take,
aye,
give him the goal, give him the shot. Obviously, it could harm him if he missed it, but it didn't look like he was going to miss it.
nah. Uh, Everybody wanted Rocky to take it. The crowd, I
Mm.
didn't. I wanted somebody to,
But
but
they're just
I was.
singing his name because he had the run and then got fouled just before it, or were they actually
Nah, I think
thinking,
it was the last kick of the ball. It didn't like
no,
we were winning the game. Like there was no question of us dropping points by this point. And I think they were chanting the name because everybody would have quite liked the banter of Rocky
mm,
strolling up and smacking a penalty in. And to be fair, if that happened and he scored it, it is a fucking great moment. Everybody's talking about that for ages and buzzing about it. But I think the right thing happened is you get the striker to take it and you get the goal.
goal
Yeah,
difference could be matter. It could really matter.
aye. Um, Bowie was getting a wee bit of criticism in the stadium. It's around me. If people getting frustrated with him trying too hard was probably quite a good description of it. Ball got stuck under his feet a few times. I think he struggled, as did a number of players with the conditions. A really blustery, windy day. The rain was lashing down at points and stuff. And the pitch was at the same time fast and slow, depending on where the ball landed. Sometimes it was running away from the players, and other times it was sticking under their feet. And I thought Bowie sort of came a cropper a couple of times for that. He should have scored. I think he got a clear shot away that their keeper saved, and you say it was a good save, but he probably should have found the net. But that Jeff's pointed about patience, particularly with Bowie's 21, 22-year-old first season in this league coming off a big injury. Patience is right there. Right? We need to give him time to sort of find his feet.
There's expectations around them though, and that's where people we look at other strikers, and we've had them in the past. James Collins we mentioned the other week because he came up for a fee because we paid more than what the mythical 150 grand we could have got Griffiths for.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got Bentley last season, Miko over the this year, but previous as well. The expectations are higher,
Mm.
so that's why I think it was important he got that penalty yesterday. He got a goal to probably ease some of the stats, right? Because folks start using them when against them.
Aye.
Like if he's not scored goals, so that now counts. And that's like, instead of going, he's not scored for however many games. It was only Dundee United, like he scored, but he's not scored for this many games. It's like, well, he's not scored since the last minute of the last game he played. So it helps ease some of that pressure. Because folks start doing that. I hope folk are starting to pick on him because folk do like somebody to moan about. Like it just we've always got a boo boy in the team, and I hope they're not thinking who am I going to pick on.
Aye. Who's getting it next?
Give him like Jeff. Is it Jeff that said it? Give him
Jeffers.
time.
No, not Jeff.
Or Jeffers.
Not
Jeff.
Jeffers. Jeff Ashton.
Aye, but obviously we need him to be scoring as well. When he has, he scored against Dundee United, important goal. He scored yesterday, which wasn't an important goal, but it was important for him.
On the subject of strikers, Chris asked, what are the thoughts on Venti's comments and what do you think we can get for him? Venti essentially said he's nowhere to come back, didn't he? Like he said, Hibs is a great club, but I've not had the experience of Scottish football that I wanted. What do you think?
But as long as we break even, like I think we've got to try and break even. But with him saying stuff like that, I don't know if that brings the value down a bit, which would potentially why, because maybe the club is there saying, we're not going to pay that much. If you go and say that, then that'll force their hand in selling you for a bit cheaper. Didn't work out for him. It's a shame. Like it could have been down to the formation and the style of play last year here, what he was asked to do. It could have been down to the pace of the game here, being a bit quicker than what he's came from and what he's went back to. He clearly was a decent finisher. Like he scored most of the chances he got. Just that he didn't get in the positions to get enough chances. Like if we could break even, that would be good for me.
Aye, I don't think there's it. Well, I said it before. Like I think if you were Venti, there's no way you would want to come back. And no, because it's Hibs or because you thought it was better. But I just think if you've had that experience and it's not been a great experience and you've got out of it, you would be mental to go back into it unless you felt like you had a burning point to prove. But I just think life's too short.
It's hard for him to come in. There's folk. I mean, there's folk out there that have probably wrote him off, and you could maybe say one of them. But there's also folk that are really supportive of him out there. I think it would come back, there would be expectations. It would just be like one of the, maybe could rest easy for folk complaining, because that would be where everybody would be arguing if he was back. And it would just, it's a bit of a divisive one.
Aye, an
For
easy
the
target,
fan
isn't it?
base. Yeah.
Neil said, "You're not going to get an easier 3 points this season. Can't believe St Johnstone persisted in playing out from the back when Hibs' press was really good. Only negative was not scoring more goals. Top six and looking good for at least fourth place. We have been top of that form table for a long time, like your top or second top from for a long time. We're definitely not in a false position, eh? Like we're talking about third, and like I contend still that if we are third going into the split, well, that's where we'll finish. But I think we are like we're genuine contenders for third. It's not like we're there on a bit of a fluke. Eh? Like this is
Mhm.
a team that's easily the third best team in the league as things stand.
Yeah. Aye. That's it. I mean, it's long enough. They say it all balances out over the season. Well,
Mhm.
season barely ended. There's only about seven games left. 8 games? Seven? I think it's
Two
only
before
seven.
the split, so
Aye,
seven.
seven.
Yeah, and I think Aberdeen have got the same last two games as us, but the other way around. Is it they've got? Oh no,
They're at Ross
usually they've got
County.
Ross County. So we've got Dundee and they've got Ross County, and then we both to play Rangers.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. Pat Fry's image said missed the game, but picked up from David Gray's interview where he talked about setting traps for St Johnstone. It seems to have worked. Normally, we would want to impose our game on the bottom team, but this is an example of the pragmatism we need. We're finding a way to win is the only priority. Or is this an example of the pragmatism? I would say so. I thought the tactics were brilliant yesterday. I mean, almost faultless. Uh, I, I think we we could have tried to get on the ball more and we could have tried to dominate the play, but I didn't care if we would have created any more chances if we'd done that. I thought the way that we did it, we played the game almost entirely in St Johnson's half.
Yeah.
We were like really comfortable when they had a horrible afternoon, and that's what you want. We won 3-0. So Roboito said more comfortable than I thought it would be. Second still on. He put in brackets currently Dundee 1 Huns 0. On another note, big fan of the Mulligan and O'Hare hairdo on display from the St Johnstone winger today, which might have been McKenna. Dynamo Monkeys says the Rangers in for a hide-in. And Rafa says, I can't believe it we didn't win by more as they were very poor. I had looked for 8 points minimum from the final four before the splits are halfway there. On that, like, so 2 games to go before the split, Colin, 6 points to play for. We talked about it in the preview about like what's realistic. Like we'd almost sort of gone, right, doesn't matter if you didn't take anything for Rangers. And then we said, well, we had that run, Dundee United, Hearts and Celtic, and we took 9 for 9 in that one. Tougher run than the one that we've got now. Can we take 6 for 6 for the last 2 games?
Can. We can. I'd be happy if we're settling it now. I'd be happy with a draw at the weekend. I think there's no reason we can't go there and win. Because you see, I watched some of their game last night,
Uh-huh.
and I got in, and they see it all. But I seen most of the second half. I think I watched. I mean, fair enough that I was when they started scoring goals, but it was end-to-end stuff. Like, oh, I had no clue. Like, you've just because they've got a management team there, right? You've got Neil McCann, who I think is, based on watching him on Sports Scene, maybe reasonably tactically aware.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Dodds, who's just a fucking clown. You've got Ferguson, who's just there for the cameras. Like, he's just like punching in the air and fucking starting the songs. Like, there's no, he's got no awareness. Neil McCann's
Yeah.
managing that team. So I don't think there's anything to really fear. Like, they've got goals in them, obviously, but they've definitely got leakage at the back as well. So, I think I could see us setting up well and maybe similar to how we did yesterday and letting them, because they'll need to come and press the
Mm-hmm.
home team. They always
Aye,
like,
they'll have to.
we'll just say, have the ball then, and we'll just hit you, Boyle, Bowie, and the others on the break. But pace.
Vince said, time to give those out of contract players an incentive for finishing third. 1 year automatic extension. We'll need the bodies if we have 2 games a week through the season and of the year. Interesting one. I think we lost our stream. Maybe no, still showing us live. Excuse me if you've lost the stream and we're. I'm
Yeah,
not
it
sure
seems
what's
to have
going on.
stopped.
Aye. what we'll do, I'm going to pause the recording here, Colin. 2 seconds.